Praise the Lord, everybody. Y'all better wake up. Come on now. God been so good to you. Y'all better wake up because he's been good. I'm going to get right into it. On Wednesday night, I was going to talk about John 5, about no need to wait. But while I was at work that morning at FedEx, by the way, I got a new job at FedEx now. So I'll get to that in a minute. But while I was at work, just sorting packages, the Lord just instantly just changed my message. And he told me to go back to my first sermon I gave 10 years ago. I originally preached about no matter what, I am going to the other side. I didn't preach that, but I taught about the other side, get through your storms, out of Mark 4, verses 35 through 41. I dealt more about getting through the storms, the disciples. You know, when Jesus called the disciples, let us therefore go to the other side, they left everybody behind because, you know, when God calls you to go to the other side, there are some things you got to leave behind that they can't go with you. Abraham understood that in Genesis 12 when God told him, leave your family, leave everyone, go to a place I can show you and make you a great blessing. And the other side is the place of your blessings, advancement to the kingdom, opportunities, and so forth. And so they went with Jesus. Everything went well. But when they got to the storm, it was a problem. It wasn't a problem for Jesus. Understand, the storm wasn't a big deal for Jesus because all he was doing was sleep. You know, when we go through storms, we sleep through it. It was a problem for the disciples because they were going through a storm. They didn't know what to do. They were scared. They try and figure out, say, Jesus, don't you care we're drowning? And that's what with us is that when we go through storms, we always call on Jesus. We're always in prayer. Our life is going through. And so long story short, Jesus got up and said, peace be still. He told his disciples and said, you do realize that you got to stop it. He said to him, why are you afraid? Where's your faith? Disciples did not understand. As long as Jesus was with them through the storm, they have the power to speak to the storm, to cast out storms. The Bible says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but love, power, and sound mind. That's what God gives us. He gives us three things: love, power, and sound mind. The disciples did not understand that when you go through storms and stuff, you got power to speak to your situations. You got power to tell your storm to be passed and go over so I can get to my other side. Because a lot of us these days, we're trying to run away from storms. We're trying to run away from stuff and we don't want to fight it. We want people to fight our battles. But really though, God has put in us the power and love, sound mind to fight through those things. As long as the Lord is with you through the storm, you got the power to tell your storm, peace be still. No matter what, I am going to the other side. No matter of fact, I need to change that because this is kingdom. I'm on the other side. Not I'm going, but I'm on the other side. Y'all better help me here. So they got through. So the disciples did not understand. That's what I was talking about on Wednesday, to understand that, you know, I was talking about my experience when I used to work in the airport for 18 years. I had to work through the rain, through the storm, and so forth. And I did not run away from it. Hear me. While I was working through the rainstorm, my feet was wet so bad, so much so. Sometimes I wanted to go inside, but you know what? I had no choice. I had to work through the rain, through the work, and get it through. And so forth. I was telling them about that, getting a demonstration of how the 18 years to be in the airport, how I had to go through those things in the snowstorm, you know, coming home, my feet wet, clothes wet, and everything, and so forth. And I said to myself, you know what, why I'm going through this? Sometimes I want to be inside, just don't do nothing. But you know what, God put me in this job position, and so forth, and I had to deal with it and work through it. And that's what we got to do with us, that when we go through things, we got to work through it. And once the sun comes up, once the storm passes, you know that you're on the other side. When the storm passes through, the scriptures say the next day the storm was clear. They were on the other side. And once they're on the other side, they didn't look back. They didn't look back because they were thankful that God has brought them through this far, because they have gone through the storm. They understand that you just got to trust God and obey in the storm. And so that's what I talked about on Wednesday. I summarized that I talked about the other side. Get through your storms. And I wanted to encourage you today, Whatever you're going through in this season, because Rosh Hashanah is coming up, get through it. Don't run away from it. Get through it, because while you go through it, God is with you. And when he's with you, you got the power to cast out devils in your storms and tell them, get out the way. I'm not going to let this thing stop me. I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to speak my best words in my worst moments, because I cannot miss what God has for me.